Ladies and gentlemen, dedicated to the memory of Mr. Fanny Shakur and all the strong black women around the world. Let me talk to you one time.
My sister came from a woman, got her name from a woman, and I came from a woman. I want to rock the tip for my women, while we break power women, do we 8 hours quick. My sister,
my brothers, I love you. I hate to know some of you treat us like Glover. Black car revolt, maybe you could use Discover. Define yourself, do you feel the same way about your mother? Do you overlook our beauty, but you love it on all the others? Hope you teach your daughters all to stay away from suckers like yourself if you don't love yourself. I'm so southern, I was taught to feed the soul with or without hot ovens. Here's a plate, know your hate come from a black man's struggle. We all in the same shape, so I know I fit your puzzle. Either way, we got your back, we only pray you be our muscle. Strength in the times, we all overcome with trouble. Every day we pulling doubles for ourselves and home. My mom and daddy taught me early on, protect your own. We never stop loving you, so turn your love back on. And I pray you feel the same way as that Tupac song. We ain't your or your trophies are meant for pimping. Recognize a gift from God. I raise a birthday on Christmas to protect our lives. You gonna take it to the limit? Rib of our rib, do you still feel it?
my sister came from a woman, got her name from a woman, and I came from a woman. I want to rock the tip for my women, while we break power women,
yeah.
8 hours.
Feel me? And since we all got our name from a woman, and I came from a woman. I wonder why we
take for my women,
why we
break power women, 8
talk to him, PJ.
I don't know where I would be.
Where would you be
if you weren't here with me?
If I wasn't here with you?
If you don't hear anybody,
if you don't hear nobody say,
please know you appreciate it. Where you walk, where you talk so fine, yeah. And who you gotta bring your mind.
I gotta bring your mind.
There ain't nobody better.
Ain't nobody better.
Each and every one of you matter to me.
Right now we gonna take it to the West Coast in memory of Tupac Shakur, Nipsey Hussle, and the legendary Kobe Bryant. Yeah. To my sisters, I know we on it. I feel your pain. I'm a woman disappointed. They should never take what's never given to them because they want it. I was taught if you love me, you would never cut the corners. What we made in the night, we gotta raise in the morning. This a sucker homie's warning. You should never hit a woman. We should have some things in common, just like Common. He respect us. A law is not a lecture. How you love us, it affect us. I ain't playing the middle like Nadeska. It ain't complex to be emotional or affectionate. To my brothers that do, I hope our sisters don't think less of them. Tupac gone, you know rap had to message them. Try to do our best for them, Mother Panther vibes. We need strong men so our baby boys survive. Yeah, I know some statistics lie, but all the ones that didn't, yo, you gotta do your job. I know this life ain't easy. Every one of us is flawed. At least love your woman, we the closest thing to God. And tell her keep her head up every day that it gets hard. If you truly recognize that since we all came, got our name from a woman, and I came from a woman.
I wonder why we take from my women, why we break power women, do we 8 hours?
I don't know where I would be.
Where would you be?
If you weren't here with me,
if I wasn't here with you,
if you don't hear anybody else say it, please know you appreciate it. The way you walk, the way you talk so fine, yeah. And who you gotta bring your mind.
I gotta bring your mind.
There ain't nobody better.
Ain't nobody better, yeah.
Each and every one you better to me.
Yeah. So you already know what it is. I'm your host for the evening, Scion919. This is the Proof is in the Pudding show. And tonight I'm really excited, yo. Black excellence in the building. I got my homegirl in the building. How you feeling tonight? We got Jewel, the artist, in the building, y'all. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good right there. So, yo, we talking about Black excellence. I got to salute you for what you're doing. I'm really excited about your company.
Thanks.
Really excited about what you stand for. So there's a lot I want to talk about tonight, yo. So tell the people who you are, first of all, and then after that.
Well, I'm Jewel, and I am the founder of the brand Black Jewels, a lifestyle brand company based here in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I guess I'll be telling y'all a bit more about me today.
All right, that sounds good. So let's start in the beginning. I think there's no better place to start than the beginning. So let's talk about where you were born. Where you from?
So I was born upstate New York in Newburgh, and I didn't live there for too long, but I grew up in Atlanta. I spent a lot of my childhood in Atlanta, and I moved around a lot down south, East Coast, and I ended up here in North Carolina. Atlanta was cool. I miss Atlanta. I want to go back after I graduate, hopefully.
Okay, so
That's the plan.
let's talk about Atlanta. Atlanta is definitely a black city.
Yes, sir.
So
The Mecca.
so let's talk about it. Yo, tell me what that experience was like growing up in Atlanta.
So I was pretty young in Atlanta. That was around like first, I would say like, yeah, first grade, sixth grade. So I was there I was there for a minute. But that was around, when Soulja Boy was popping and all the, I don't even know how to explain it. The culture was just so different, the way people dressed, the way people talked, and it was really cool. And to be in a place that was such a hot spot back then, like all the new artists and all these, big people coming out of Atlanta, it was really fun. Like, I feel like that was what really helped me get immersed into culture. That big, movement of music, I guess, that was coming out back then. I really enjoy like music from 2000 to 2010. It just sounds so different. And back then I would, be making up dances with my friends and making up songs and just doing all kind of creative stuff. And I'm sure I could have did it if I lived somewhere else, but it wasn't the same in Atlanta. Like just being in a place where all this new stuff is growing and developing, I think that definitely has a big impact on, how I was able to become the creator that I am today, because like I kind of saw stuff like that, in my own city growing up, or at least heard about it. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely planted a good seed in my creative mind.
Okay, so you said y'all back in that era, y'all was dancing and stuff like that. What was some of the groups that you was feeling back then? I didn't know you was a dancer.
Well, I can't even remember names like that no more. I'm not gonna lie, but it would just be, we would be watching like the music video channel, and whatever came on, like we was lit. I love Soulja Boy, all that whole era, the Crank That, Batman, all that stuff. That was really big for little Atlanta kids back then. But what was it? The Lean With It, Rock With It, whoever those, I forgot who came with that song. Pop Lock and Drop It, all that stuff. I used to love that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, so it was definitely exciting to be in the A at that time. Everybody, they changed the game, and they definitely was making a mark in the business. Even Outkast.
I was just about to say that Outkast too. I actually grew up, I lived in that area. They talk about College Park and all the time. Like, I lived out there, so it's cool to hear people rapping about like where you stay, rapping about my neighborhood type thing. That was pretty lit.
Definitely. You said that Atlanta was definitely the Black Mecca.
Yes.
So how did that shape your life, do you think? Like, did you think it played a major impact on who you are today, or not really?
Well, at the time, I didn't think anything of it, but I honestly, once I started getting older and when I moved to North Carolina, like looking back at just the life that was there for me in Atlanta, I was like, okay, that's something that I want to get back to at some point. And the fact that, I know there's a bunch of people who make big money and doing big things that living in Atlanta, and I used to live there, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it kind of gives me that anything is possible mentality. And yeah, just having that constant image, it lets you know that it's possible, that you can do it, you know what I'm saying? Like those people grew up in the same neighborhoods, areas that I grew up in, and they can make it. I can definitely make it, with all the resources and stuff that we have now. Definitely put me in a good place. Like I can do it. If they can do it, if T.I. can do it, you know what I'm saying? Those kind of people, they can do it, I can do it.
I feel you on that. So let me ask you, so you moved from Atlanta to North Carolina. Big difference. What part of North Carolina did you move to?
I moved to Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay, to the Trey Force. Shout out to the Trey. So tell me what that was like, leaving Atlanta at the height, because Atlanta was, like you said, was lit. Everything was jumping off, the music scene. What was that like, moving from Atlanta to Winston-Salem?
Man, I felt like it was a downgrade. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, yo, what is there to do out here? Like in Atlanta, I knew you can go downtown, you could find, and if you don't even have to have plans, go downtown, find something to get into. But in Winston, it was like the mall, or like it wasn't much out there. And I feel like that was, looking back, like that kind of showed me, I started with seeing, where I wanted to be, and now I'm going to experience where I don't want to be. So it wasn't anything, inherently wrong with Winston. It just wasn't my style. I was used to the fast-paced life. I was used to, just seeing different kind of people. And it wasn't that diverse either. Like that's actually the first time I went to a white school, because all my schools in Atlanta, you know, my teachers were black, principals are black, you know, like that was normal to me. So it was a big culture shock, first of all, coming to North Carolina. I was not expecting it. I mean, I didn't really know much about North Carolina anyway, so I didn't know what to expect, but I definitely wasn't expecting, you know, what I ended up walking into. And I mean, it's not like it was the end of the world, but I would have much rather, you know, stayed in Atlanta where I was comfortable and where I felt more free.
I understand that. So the culture shock part, what was that like coming up? You finding yourself, you in Atlanta, you leaving the big city, right? Now you in Detroit. Coming from a black school, now you're in a mixed school. What was the education like in the environment in the black school compared to the mixed school?
That's a good question. So my school, I went to Reynolds High School in Winston, and that's one of the bigger schools in the city. So it was pretty well taken care of, but at the same time, it was a lot of stuff that I didn't like. Like, we had a kid threaten to shoot up the school. I'm like, oh no, like we ain't go through that in Atlanta. Right. I'm like, what y'all got going on here? And I mean, you can kind of, I'm sure you can guess, you know, what kind of person that was. So I was like, oh, this is what y'all do here. And I felt like the fact that I didn't have teachers that looked like me. I didn't really formulate those kind of relationships, you know, like it kind of made me have to toughen up my skin a little bit. And my dad, he's from up north too, but he grew up in North Carolina for like his school year. So he already, you know, hit me to it. And he was, he kind of guided me through it, but it was a lot of stuff I just didn't understand. Like one time I had one of the school security officers try and tell me like I wasn't allowed to sit during the pledge. And I was like, this is what y'all do here? I was like, this is crazy. I never experienced anything like that in Atlanta. So that was kind of the picture that I painted for North Carolina. And that made me want to leave like even more. I was like, nah, I don't like this. I don't need this. Take me back to the A. It was a learning experience for sure.
Definitely. So I can just imagine leaving from, like you said, around your people to be around, you know, around a diverse now crowd. And it's like a lot of things are different. So it's like you said you wanted to sit during the pledge. Was it any particular reason that you wanted to sit?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing it on purpose. I'm like, this is, you know, I might be in high school, but this is the little bit of voice that I do have. You know what I'm saying? And the lady, she tried to play me, but it's like I knew my rights. I had looked it up, you know. She was like, you can get arrested for this. I was like, I read, you know, whatever the document was. It's right here. Like, I'm not a fool. So that also made me think like, okay, I'm gonna have to like prove myself to these people. Like, I'm gonna really have to show them who I am, because people don't understand, you know, especially that culture disconnects. Like, now I got to prove it even more. So not only am I in a new city where people have a different mentality, but I'm in a new place with, you know, different cultures and people that I've never really been around. So it's like a whole different, you know, problem hanging over my head.
I feel you on that. Was this pride that, you know, this black pride, was it instilled by your family, from where you were, from like the history? What got you into it? What got you into activism?
Honestly, my father played the biggest role in that for me. When I was young, he had me watching, like, I watched Malcolm X movie. I watched a lot of Spike Lee, you know, people that are putting out, like, I watched a lot of black, of course, black music, but a lot of black movies, black TV shows. I was watching Martin as a kid, you know, stuff like that. So I was constantly seeing this kind of stuff. And that subliminal, like, they're wearing all HBCU, you know, apparel in all the TV shows, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Or like the conscious rap era, my dad would put me on and stuff like that. So it's like I'm hearing all these good things about being black from different directions. It's not just, oh, this is why you need to like it. Like, I'm hearing it in music, I'm seeing it in artwork. So being immersed in that kind of thing, I feel like my dad probably did that intentionally, because it really just made me appreciate who I am even more. And it also motivated me to look. Like, I did a lot of research in high school just about like true black history, because all the stuff that my dad was telling me when we moved to North Carolina, and then me actually seeing how it played out, I'm like, okay, he's right. Let me keep reading. Let me keep learning more. So I had so many books at the time. I was just like, I really wanted to learn more about my culture. And because, like I said, I went to a white high school, so they definitely wasn't, you know, going the extra mile to teach us about things like that. So I'm like, okay, I got to do it myself. And after a while, it felt like less of a chore. Like, I genuinely enjoyed learning about these great people. And then it turned into, let me see what I can learn from them so I can, you know, surpass them or be like them in the future. So that became a motivating factor. I'm like, okay, I want to be like Basquiat, you know, I want to be like this person, I want to be like that person. So I began, from all that history and stuff, I began finding role models, and I guess it helped me fine tune my path a little bit more, because from all that history, I started learning about like Black art history. So I'm like, oh, so Black people are really out here in the arts, unlike they try and, you know, make it seem. So that was, I guess that was the connection that I was able to make that really made seeking that knowledge stick to me.
That's dope right there, yo. So it was like you were on a journey, kind of.
Nah, for real, yeah.
That's dope, though. So let me ask you. So when did you first know like fashion was your thing? Like how old, what age, and what were you doing?
I guess I kind of picked at it like over the years. Like I think I can remember as far back to middle school where I was just theorizing like, oh, I'm gonna have a fashion brand. I'm gonna be a fashion designer. Draw little T-shirts or just outfits that I liked. There was this app, I forgot what it was called, but you could like make outfits or whatever and post them on your social media. And I like doing stuff like that. I didn't really know why, but it was just, you know, it was something I did in my pastime. But I feel like the more I did that and the more I started to learn myself, and also like my parents, they definitely played a big role showing me what they wore in the 90s or watching all these movies from back then. I'm like, oh, they dress fly. I like that. So just all that stuff together. And then my art, like being a creative person, I just started to figure out, okay, like I like this. Let's see what I can do with it. So I started like thrifting. Like I would get all my clothes from the thrift store, and it wasn't even out of just because it's cool. Like we kind of had to do stuff like that. Like my parents weren't rich. I got 4 other siblings, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't rely on them to buy me this and buy me that. So I'm like, okay, I gotta look fly on my own accord. I can't just because I can't afford polo don't mean I can't, you know, dress nice, you know? So, and I feel like when you don't have it, you gotta be creative. So that definitely made me, okay, I can put this together. You know, I don't have to have this kind of money to make this kind of outfit. So just trying stuff out and just knowing the stuff that I liked helped me realize, okay, I like fashion. Fashion is something I want to keep going.
That's dope. And like you said, yo, not having a lot of the culture that we have comes from not having,
Yeah.
yo, Black people are very creative and we take what we got and we make it great.
Yep. And then everybody don't even know that, but they start duplicating it. It's like, y'all don't even know where this came from. You know what I'm saying? So dope. That it worked. Like, it's like I guess it's like it has its pros and it has its cons, you know, not having things. It makes you want to go harder, but it's like it would be better, you know, of course, if you had what you were lacking.
That's true. But that struggle sometimes brings out the best in everybody. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? It's like you either sink or swim. So it's like, okay, so now you're in school, you're doing the arts. You're a virtual artist, correct?
Mm.
All right. For those that may not understand what a virtual artist is, break that down for the people.
Oh, visual artist. But visual artist, well, the way that I define visual art, I think it's pretty broad. I enjoy photography. I like videography. I like to paint. I like to draw. So I don't like to box myself in as, oh, I just paint. A visual artist to me is just somebody that's able to, you know, take the things around them and manipulate it into, you know, a cohesive masterpiece, something that people can relate to, something that people like to look at. It don't really matter what it is. It could be cook. You could be a chef and be a visual artist, you know? Wow. I feel like art kind of transcends all disciplines. It's something that everybody can connect to.
Nah, that makes big sense right there. So when we talk about art, what are some of the people that inspire you, that you look up to?
The first person I ever learned about was Jean-Michel Basquiat, and I feel like that's who most people learn about. And it's good and bad because it's a shame that that's the only Black artist that most people can name, like Black or white. But he did do a lot of very powerful, influential work. And back then, I would look up somebody and just start writing notes on them, try and find a documentary about them. And I was looking at a lot of his art, and it helped me. Like he was famous for his crown piece, and I used that for a while in my beginning pieces. You know, I kind of made it my own, but you know, I had my own meaning to it. I was like, this is how I want to represent people, you know, with this crown, with this with this essence of power behind them. So that was something that would come up a lot in my early works. And I liked even outside of just visual art, like I like Spike Lee. I like a lot of his movies, especially School Days. That's probably my favorite movie, and stuff like that. Like I'll pick inspiration from, the colors that they're wearing. Okay, I'm gonna take this and put it into a painting. So I would really just be pulling inspiration from everywhere, and I would try and learn about everyone, even if I didn't, know enough about a person. Let me at least get familiar with their work. Like, okay, I could recognize this style, and that's something that I did for probably. I mean, I still do it now, but I was going really hard on that. Probably when I first started taking it serious, and I feel like that's what essentially helped me build my foundation, like learning about all these artists and in a way kind of copying their work. But I mean, I was starting out, you got to start from somewhere. But I feel like some of those influences are definitely still seen in my work today.
Oh, wow. So you say photography. Were you actually professionally doing it, or you was playing around? And how long did you do photography?
Well, I started photography in high school. I took a photography class, and I got a really good grade in that class. I really enjoyed it. So I went out and bought a camera, and I still got that camera to this day. I think it was like in 2016, I bought that camera, and I use it for like the shoots that I do now. So I wouldn't consider myself a photographer, but like I'm pretty good with photography. Like I wouldn't just go, oh, book me for photo shoots, but like I do all my own photo shoots for the most part, because of what I learned back then in high school.
Okay, and I seen a couple of your photos. I like the way you put your colors and stuff together. So that's dope.
Thank you.
That's dope. So you definitely have an eye for it. So you paint as well?
Yes, I paint. I use oil paint, and art. I would say that's the first thing that I really started to take serious. Like I always liked fashion, but art, like I've been drawing since I was a kid. Like my mom probably has drawings when I was like 5 years old. That's all. Like I've always liked drawing, whether it be I'm just gonna draw eyes on the paper or like drawing in the margins of my schoolwork at school. After practicing that enough, I know I was thinking about painting for a while, but I was scared of it. I was like, oh, I don't know about this, because I was really good at drawing.
Right.
But I'm like, drawing and painting, that's two different ball games. So one day we went on like a family outing, and we went to Michael's, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just try it out. I got this little small like wooden board and a couple of paints, and I tried it out and I liked it. And then I just started practicing. Like I would look at pictures excuse me, and try to use them as reference images, or I would just paint stuff from my mind. And I started picking up a little bit momentum with that. I really started liking it, and then I took a painting class at my high school, and then since then, like I've been painting consistently, and I feel like now I'm finally finding my style and figuring out what I really want to convey in my work. But I'm sure that'll probably change one day too. It's really a journey, but I'm enjoying the journey. It's fun. Like I actually enjoy doing this. Even if I never sold another painting or anything like that, I would continue to do this forever.
That's dope right there. And
Yeah.
I got a confession to make. I can draw a little bit. And as you can see behind me, I got the pictures and stuff like that. That's not painted. Don't get it twisted. That's not painted. But I got inspired. And I said, hey.
I like it. I like that. It's a cool vibe.
I thank you. So I got inspired, and I said, I'm going to do a painting piece that I'm going to put behind me, because I can draw, right?
Right.
But what I didn't know is, like you said, total different ballgame.
Yeah.
So I sketched it out. I got my outline. I'm about, I got this. So everybody's looking, I got my kids laughing at me like, Dad's painting, he's tripping. But this is my project. I'm like, I'm going to make it happen. I start doing the paintbrush. For some reason, I just start swaying out of the lines.
I'm telling you, it's different.
Out of the lines, it just went downhill from there. So I salute any artist, any painter that paints. So it's a lot of technique to painting.
Yeah.
And you said you've been doing it a couple years?
I've been painting for probably like 6 or 7 years now.
6 or 7 years?
Yeah. And I still feel like I got a lot to learn.
Oh yeah. It's not something that comes overnight, but like you said, I started the journey. Now I'm interested in getting better. So it's funny that you say that, because it's like at first I was discouraged when it went down, but then I started trying to fix it and using other colors, and it started making different swirls and different designs.
Yeah.
Do people do that on purpose, or a lot of the times when you see the colors interacting and it makes different stuff, is that like mistakes they tried to fix? Or is that
it's both. It's definitely a combination of both. Like I remember for a while, every painting that I did, I made a mistake on it. Whether it was like I dropped my paint, I spilled some paint on it, I dropped my paintbrush, or I just did something stupid. I would always make a mistake. So you would always have those little random marks. But I personally like that, because I feel like, that kind of adds a story to it. Like I did one painting, and it was just random. I was like, okay, I was trying to force myself to paint. That was probably the problem.
Right.
But I had an idea of something that I wanted to do, and I painted it, and I hated it. I was like, wow, this is ugly. So I painted over that same canvas, and I repainted it. Didn't like that. I did it about 3 times until I finally, figured out what I wanted to make. And what I wanted to make came from all those mistakes, from the previous painting. So I feel like those mistakes are very important. And if a piece is like just perfect, like no ridges, no bumps, like something ain't right. You gotta have a little bit of character to your work.
That's a fact right there. So it's 2 questions I want to ask you on the painting while we're here. I know we're off topic, but while we're here, what I'm saying? Because like I said, a lot of people don't know that about me with this painting thing. So I want to ask you, like the great painters, that's in the museums and stuff like that. Do you think they have blemishes and mistakes? Because now that I'm interested, I think that they have mistakes in it that people just don't realize, and those that are artistic and know, that's what makes it a unique painting.
Yeah, and for sure. And also, when you are the artist, you're going to be your biggest critic at the end of the day. To the most people that are looking at art are not artists. They're not trained, so they don't know that this is supposed to be this way or that's supposed to be that color. So I feel like, as you keep creating, your art kind of becomes, it's like a mirror, you know what I'm saying? Like you can see so much deeper into all the flaws that you've made. And I guess, it's up to you to decide, is this a flaw or is this just going to be a part of my work? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I make this work for me? So that's how I like to look at it. I like to put an optimistic spin on most things in life. It's all about perspective at the end of the day.
That's dope. So when you're coming up and you're creative, how do you get in your zone and where do you draw inspiration from?
How do I get in my zone? Well, I really have to be like in the mood to create. Like for a while, when I was learning and watching all these YouTube videos, everybody's like, oh, you have to do it every day. You have to do this and that. Just everybody telling you what you have to do. And it's like, but I noticed a lot when I did that, it would be a lot of work that I didn't like, or there would be a lot of unfinished canvas. And honestly, until a couple months ago, that was my mentality. I'm like, okay, I got to keep pushing out work. People going to forget about me. But I've been working on this one painting for probably like 5 months now. I've never, I've never done anything like that before. But I'm learning, like, to create when I feel like it, because that's when I'm going to put out the best work. And for me, everything has to be perfect for me to paint. Like my room got to be clean. I got to have incense, music, all that kind of stuff. So it's really like a ritual for me to, start painting. And I feel like that's important because you really have to get yourself ready for it. And for me, my art is meaningful. Like I don't just paint because it looks nice. Like I like to convey stories, I like to try and reach people. So I can't do that if I need to paint, I have to think, tailor the message of the painting in my mind or something like that, right. Really got to get myself ready. And for inspiration, I feel like honestly, I'm blessed to be able to pull inspiration from everything. Like I can get inspiration from a movie. I can see somebody's outfit on the street and okay, I'm gonna duplicate that. I'm gonna use the colors in their outfit. Or if somebody says something, okay, I like that word, I'm gonna paint something that represents that word. Like if I'm going to sleep, I'll just have a random thought, let me write this down so I can paint in the morning. It's anything, and it doesn't always manifest the same, but I like doing it like that. Unless I have like creative block, then I'll go the extra mile. Like, okay, what's something that I like? But for the most part, the ideas just come to me so randomly.
Oh wow, that's dope right there. So okay, I do a little music, so I'm interested to know what type of music are you playing? You're in your zone. Your incense are going. What's on your deck? Part 1 of the question. Part 2 is what work means the most that you've done? What painting means the most to you, and what's the story behind it?
Okay, so for music, I go off vibes. Like it depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm like, okay, I really want to get this done, I'm gonna listen to some rap. I'll turn on some Lil Baby, some Gunna, or if I want to hear some old school stuff, I don't know, maybe like some Outkast, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, something hard to make me really go for it. If I'm chilling, something with a lot of strokes like this, like I'll turn on some neo soul or some old school jams, some jazz. I really listen to damn near anything, like except for country, but everything else, like it just depends on how I'm feeling, and how much work I'm trying to put in. And the second part of your question was, what was it again?
The painting that means the most to you.
Oh,
Which one is the dearest to you, and what's the story behind that painting?
So it's one that I'm actually working on right now. The one that's been taking me forever, and I feel like that one is so important to me because of the story behind it. So it's basically a story about all the stuff that's going on right now. It's about living through the coronavirus, being a black woman living through the coronavirus while also dealing with systemic racism. All the protests and stuff like that. I would say it's set. This painting was probably set in June of last year. So just imagine remember all the stuff that was going on back then. Right. I put that into a painting, and I feel like that's so important because like everybody is not experiencing this time the same way, especially not black people. Like we always got extra baggage, but this time it's like it's really extra baggage. But at the same time, in that painting, I like to show that we still persevere throughout all that stuff. We still look good. In the painting, the woman, she's dressed real nice, but she's got on a face mask, and she's holding her heels in her hand, after a long day of work. So it's like even after throughout all the stuff that we're going through, still got to look good, still got to get work, still got to be you. And I feel like that's a very powerful message, right. Especially if someone were to look at that painting 10 years from now, we can use that as a marker, to see how we've progressed. What have we come through? Did we make it through that? So I feel like it'll only become more important as time goes on, honestly. And I'm excited to finish it, but I'm really trying to take my time, and I'm adding more pieces to the story here and there. But that's a really, really important piece to me.
That's dope right there. And especially you said some key things, yo, with everything that's going on in the state of the world right now. As a black woman, what's going through your mind? The George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all this is going on. As a black young woman, what was going on in your mind at that moment?
Well, it's crazy because I'm thinking like, wow, history is repeating itself, and I'm here to witness it. Like, this is the same stuff, that our grandparents and great grandparents, and for some of us, even our parents, like this is the stuff that they went through, and they told us about it, and it's here again. Right. So in a way, it makes me feel like we haven't made any progress. Like despite how hard we as black people have tried, it's like we keep getting the short end of the stick. So that makes me feel some type of way, but at the same time, I see it as room for progress because I personally believe we're going through another Black Renaissance right now. Like right. The Harlem Renaissance was 100 years ago, and I feel like we're back here right now because all the societal pressures, a lot of, at least, in my circle, the people that I follow and see, a lot of people are putting out some really good work, and you could tell, it's from a true place. And I feel like, that could come from nowhere other than the struggle. So the struggle can be very inspirational. So not to say that I like it, but that's something that I can appreciate from going through this time. So like I said earlier, it's all about perspective. So when I catch myself like, damn, everything sucks, white people hate us, we're fighting for our lives constantly, I'm also thinking like, wow, black people are so great, we persevered through all this, and we're gonna keep making it through. So right. I guess it depends on what the news is for the day, but I always try and keep a positive head, and always try to be proactive, do what I can in my community. I might not be able to feed everybody in the neighborhood, but I can give, this homeless black man some money. I see him on the street type thing. So it's like, it shows us how much work we have to do, but it also shows us the possibilities that can come from putting in all that work.
That's dope. And the thing that's dope about what you're doing with Black Jewels, the clothing line. Last month was Black History Month. I seen on your Instagram you was doing something, and I'm pretty sure you wasn't doing it for the notoriety. You never even knew I was going to ask you. What inspired you to do what you did last month for Black History with the Black Jewels?
So I feel like, well, for my brand, period, I'll say even before the brand, I always knew that it's like in me to be a leader. My parents have always instilled that into me. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings, so like being a leader is in my blood. And as I've been going, through this journey of life, figuring out my purpose, I'm like, okay, I have to lead. I have to set a positive example. I'm not able to save the world, unfortunately, but I can make an impact in my community. So that's ultimately why I created this brand. My very first item was called, the design was called Like-Minded, and it was a picture, basically representing, a drawing representing, how similar we all are. Like, despite all the differences, we all are more alike than we are different. Right. And with that, I want it to be encouraging. I want it to be uplifting. I'm like, okay, like, I like this vibe. Like, I can keep making stuff like that. So as I continued to make stuff like that, I made something that said, free your mind. I made a t-shirt that said free your mind. I made a t-shirt that said, be careful, be peaceful, be you. So that's always been something that's a part of my brand. Right. And I've just been, ultimately, the problem has never been the message. But I'm like, how can I make it to where people actually want to wear it? Because people always going to see the stuff that you wear. If you like something, you're going to wear it. That's, right. Not advertisement, but whatever it is on the shirt, you're advertising that at all times, whether it's intentionally or what have you. And to have something Black is beautiful, you're advertising that, like, that, honestly, that's the best thing that I could do, in my opinion. With my resources, I'm a college student, but I know how to make art. You know what I'm saying? I like fashion, so let me use this. This is the value I'm gonna put into the world. So that's, I would say that's a manifestation of me doing, what I felt like I'm here to do. And for Black History Month, I actually made the t-shirts last year. I made some Black History Month t-shirts, right. And on the front of it, it said, "The new Negro has no fear." And that's very important to me because, first of all, I found that painting at a museum in New York. Wow. What's it called? It's in Harlem. The Schomburg Museum. And there was an exhibit. Have you been there before?
That's the one with the Harlem Renaissance paintings and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
I haven't
been, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I went there last year, and there was a picture of a bunch of Black people at a protest, but there was a sign, and there was one person that was holding up the sign, and it said, "The new nigger has no fear," and that stuck with me like that whole time. And I'm thinking, how can I be the best? How can I communicate value? How can I speak to the people? Like, okay, boom, let me put this on the shirt. So I put that on the shirt. Or that I had the idea to put that on the shirt, and then I'm thinking, like, okay, like, what else? That's not enough. And it was Black History Month at the time. So I was thinking, like, I don't know a lot of women civil rights activists. So I started doing my research, and I found a bunch of women who I felt like they did some really good work and they need to be put, on the forefront. So I put them on the shirt, and alongside some men, but I tried to make women the focus. Right. And it really educated people. Like, not only was I educating myself because I didn't know who they were at first, but other people were buying it, and they were like, I like this message. I like what you're doing, or this sparked interest in me. This sparked a thought, and right. that's what's most important to me. And I try, and since then, I've just been trying to duplicate that same message, that same feeling ever since.
That's dope right there. And like you said, it was a lot of women that civil rights activists and played a major part, and people don't know, and they don't get the credit from it. So which Black woman inspired you the most from your research?
It's so many. I don't even know, because I feel like all of them, everybody is inspirational in their own way. Like, one of the women I put on my shirt was, her name is Claudette Colvin, and she was actually, the first Black woman who sat on the bus before Rosa Parks, but she wasn't trying to make a statement, you know what I'm saying? So she didn't put in any effort, yet you changed the world, essentially. You know what I'm saying? So I like stuff like that, but I try and pick things from everybody, I try and learn from every experience. So I would say, I wouldn't necessarily say I have a favorite, but my favorite type are just the people who, like, don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just going to go out there and get it, talk they ish and everything. Like, people like, I guess Angela Davis, going hard with the the pro-Blackness, all that stuff. I like that, but I don't know if I could pick a favorite, because I think they all did great work, and we wouldn't be here without a lot of their work.
Right. They all matter.
Right.
That's definitely a fact right there. And I see you got the puffs going on. That's dope. You representing, yo.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm definitely excited to see that come back around. Definitely for the natural movement.
Yeah.
Definitely for the
I'm glad it's here.
So let me ask you, and there's no right or wrong answer. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of controversial, but I'm gonna ask you anyway.
Okay.
As a black woman, right, with the rap scene, female rappers, right? The message that's going on right now is it like, what's your take on that, yo? I personally, I listen to it, but I think it's more to the negative side, not enough to the positive. What's your take on that?
Okay, I can feel that. But a thing that we would have to evaluate before even talking about that is, who are these people signed to? You know what I'm saying? All these people behind these labels, these Jewish people that don't know nothing about Black culture and that don't really care about the future of our culture, they're just trying to do what sells. You know what I'm saying? And I can't really fault these Black women for trying to get their money at the end of the day. You know, I hear a lot of stuff about, oh, they're not good role models for kids. Why are your kids listening to them? You know what I'm saying? So that's, you know, that's more of like a you problem than a them problem type thing. So I feel like that is probably the first thing that needs to be covered. Like, who are they signed to?
Right.
Are they even writing this music? You know what I'm saying? Or are they just, you know, basically clocking in at work trying to get their paycheck? So in a way, I can't be mad at them. And I guess because I'm an adult with no kids, like, it doesn't really affect me in that way. Right. But at the same time, I would like for there to be, you know, more positive music. But in general, because men do it too. I mean, and honestly, for a while ago, I really was thinking, like, I can't be reciting all the words to these songs, you know what I'm saying? Because you're putting that out into the universe. You're talking about, you want to die, you want to kill people, stuff like that. Like, okay, it's cool to listen to at a party, but I don't want to recite that. And like, some people might think it sounds corny, and what I think, like, the universe don't know the difference between you singing a song and you speaking something over your life. Right. So in a way, I really do wish things would be a bit better. But at the same time, it's like, if this is what these people got to do to get their money, I can't be mad at them, because, you know, they might feel some type of way about me putting whatever I put on a t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, if that's what they got to do, that's what they got to do. And if people have problems, like, with their kids listening to it, it's like, control your kids. Like, there, you know, there was messed up music back in the day too, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like our generation, or my generation, gets a lot of slack. Oh, you guys are this, and this. And it's like, your generation was that and worse. Like, or your generation paved the way for my generation to be what it is. Right. So I feel like, you know, there's a lot of fingers that could be pointed, but I guess, you know, there's a lot of other things, underlying factors at work too. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I asked you that, it was a trick question. It was a layered question. You know what I'm saying? But you passed that test. You answered it the way you're supposed to, because at the end of the day, they're doing what they have to do, and we don't know the story.
Exactly.
It's
right.
easy to be on the outside looking in and
always
saying, da. Mm-hmm. But you answered that perfectly. I just want to let you know you answered that. That was one of those journalist questions where we try to trip people up, and you didn't fall for it.
I'm ready. So, I'm ready for everything.
All right. So you ready?
Yeah.
So here's the next one now. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we got the Black Lives Matter going on, right? Okay. We stand for Black people. We represent. Let me ask you, it's not a right or wrong. It's just your opinion. I just want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? From a female point of view. So now, okay, we get in the uproar. We're upset. The injustices, the systematic racism, right? Then in the inner cities, we have the Black on Black crime, right? Somebody gets killed. People say, okay, free such and such, that was my homeboy, free him. But when it's the other people killing us, we're ready to get mad, we're ready to riot. Do you think that's a contradiction? Do you think that's just, either way is wrong?
Right. Okay.
Way is wrong.
Well, let me start here. So, you know, I'm big on educating myself. If I don't know enough about something, I'm gonna use Google. Google's free. You know, I'm gonna look in Google. I'm gonna look in a book. And throughout the time that I've been educating myself, I've read a lot of stuff and heard a lot of opinions. And the thing about Black on Black crime, I used to think that same way too, but that's not a thing that exists. There's no such thing as Black on Black crime. There's just crime. I feel like the whole Black on Black crime thing is just another way to try and pit us against each other. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not saying it's right, but if this dude is gonna kill this dude because, I don't know, he did something to his mom or, raped his kid or something like that. Okay, like that's not black on black crime. That's just crime, and I kind of feel him for doing what he did. You know what I'm saying? Right. So first, we would have to say black on black crime isn't real because there's no white on white crime, no Asian on Asian. You know what I'm saying? It only is a problem when it comes to us. Killing is not right. Crime is not right. But when it comes to us, it's even worse. Right. But also, we got to think about why these people are committing these crimes. You know what I'm saying? People that don't have a lot of education, that don't have a lot of money, they're more likely to fall into those kinds of situations. They're more likely to feel like they got to steal, stuff like that. I watched a documentary a while ago on these people from Jersey, and they were saying how carjacking was the culture. And I'm like, what the heck? But as I'm watching the documentary, they're saying like, they live in a rough city. There's no jobs. The government doesn't want to help them out. I feel like this is the only way I got to get money. So it's like, dang, like, and we're just getting constantly judged. Oh, y'all have all these problems in your community. You're killing each other. But why? Like, who's going to take the time, figure out why, and actually fix it? You know what I'm saying? And so in a way, I can see, how people would have that idea, oh, we're killing each other and nobody's saying anything. But people still, to me, people still are, people still have issues with stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's never not been an issue. And I feel like also that's something that, we need to handle within our own community. You know what I'm saying? Because people already think X, Y, and Z about us. They already done gave us a whole category of crime that belongs to us. You know what I'm saying? So any time that gets talked about, it's only going to make us look worse, as opposed to us calling out these crooked cops and stuff like that. That's something that we can all band together and jump on them for. So again, that's that perspective. It depends on what you're looking at, how you're looking at it. You know what I'm saying? How you got the story. So at the end of the day, of course, yes, I would like for crime in our neighborhoods to go down, but I would also like for us to have better homes, better school, more community support, so those things could actually happen. Because like, people expect us to just put out our ass, and just fix the whole community. And one day, it's a lot of stuff that comes with that, and ultimately a lot of it's not our fault. Like, Black people get blamed for a lot of stuff, but we forget that this is a system, and we have been worked by the system time and time again. And it's not just that, it's easier said than done, to solve all these problems, but it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, you're sharp. Yeah, you're a sharp knife. I'm gonna give you that. Yeah. I'm gonna give you that right now. I'm gonna tell you that right now, because like I said, I'm asking loaded questions. You know what I'm saying? That some people will get fired up and they'll just start going on a rant.
Right.
You think before you speak.
Yeah, that's the biggest part. That is the biggest part, and that's something my parents have always told me. And I just like that. That's so important, especially I'm trying to build a platform. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely want to represent myself as my true self and as my most positive self. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not putting on a facade or anything, but that's important to make a good first impression and just know what you're talking about as an adult. Like, that's a good adult trait to have.
That's a fact right there. You said something powerful earlier, systematic racism, and that's another trick that they use to pit against us. Mm-hmm. A distraction. No matter what's going on in the neighborhood, doesn't justify what they're doing to us. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so definitely, that was another one. And you said you're a leader.
Yeah, definitely.
I commend you on that. How old are you?
21.
21. Where your mind is, your parents, they prepped you, they prepared you the right way. You ever seen the movie The Hate You Give?
Yes, I read the book, actually.
You read the book. See, okay, see, nowadays, see what I'm saying? You're a sharp blade. Because most people, they learn through movies and they learn through visuals. You said, not only did I see the movie, I read the book.
Yeah, I had to read the book. I read the book first.
Wow. That movie had a powerful message. The movie had a powerful message in it. What did you get from the book?
From the book, well, I would say one of the biggest things to me is like how it don't matter where you are and where you go. At the end of the day, they still just gonna see you as Black. Like, it doesn't matter. You're gonna be Black till the day you die. There's nothing that you can do to change that. But I feel like, we should we shouldn't let that, if possible, you know, we shouldn't let that hinder us. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't be the reason why I think she went to like a better school, a nicer school in a different neighborhood. Like that shouldn't be the reason, you know, why we decide not to go there, or they're not going to like people like me. Like, no, you still got to do what you got to do despite, you know, what everybody's saying. You still got to go out there. You still got to be yourself, and you can't let nobody's opinion of you affect how you see yourself. And I also saw it as like we need to protect each other, like way, way, way more, especially Black men for Black women. Because as a Black woman, I wouldn't say that I feel threatened by Black men, but I know a lot of Black women who do feel threatened by Black men, and I know a lot of Black men who feel like it's not their duty to make sure that Black women feel protected. And I think that is their duty. Like, if any, it's the least, you know, that they can do. There's no price that you could put on that, because, and again, back to all the research I was doing about the civil rights activists, like, it was a lot of women. All those great men had great women behind them. Like, they would not have been there without a great woman. So I feel like, you know, we need to be more like teammates than competitors. And I even see that, you know, in the business world, everybody, of course, you know, you're naturally going to be competitive, but at the same time, it's like, there's room for all of us to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because somebody's supporting your brand, don't mean they can't support mine. So why pit, you know, each other against each other? Take care of each other, because we have more problems to worry about. We got to worry about police. We got to worry about racism. You know what I'm saying? We have to worry about classes, and we have to worry about everything else. The last thing we should be worried about is each other. You know what I'm saying? We should be able to rely on each other and fall back in each other and believe and listen to each other at the end of the day. Like, I'm not sure if it's something that could realistically happen, but I would love to see us, you know, just move more as a collective unit, at least Black Americans. You know, I can't speak for other countries, but here, like, we know what we've come from. You know what I'm saying? We know the dark history. We should be doing everything we can to keep each other safe and make sure we never return, you know, to something like that. I feel like that's the least that we owe each other. Like, we owe each other kindness. We owe each other love. A lot of people, oh, I don't know him, I don't owe them. Like, yes, you do. Or Black people, Black men only, you know, respecting attractive Black women. Like, no, even if you don't find her attractive, you still have the right. I mean, you're still required to treat her like a person, respect her, stuff like that. So that's another big thing I got from that movie, and it's just honestly a theme that just keeps recurring. Like, even with these the protests and stuff like that, like, togetherness is just that. What do they say? It's power in numbers. Like, it really is. It really is.
And a closed fist is more powerful than pointing the finger.
That's very true. That's very, very true.
Okay, so now we brought up the protests. I read some of your bio. You were in the protest?
Yes.
Tell me about the protest. Where was it at, and what sparked the protest, and what was your experience like in that protest?
So this protest was last year. Yeah, last year at NC State, at my school at the time. I transferred. I don't go there no more. That was honestly why.
Left? Oh, wow. You left?
I'm at A&T now. I wasn't playing.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Really?
Yep.
Wow. I definitely got to hear this story right here.
Yes.
Wow.
So I can tell that within this. So, NC State, it was cold outside. I can't remember. Maybe it might have been sometime in the fall.
Right.
But this is around when maybe, I don't know why, but it was something related to Trump. There was a man named Charlie Kirk. He was known for this Republican group or whatever in Raleigh, but they constantly were spewing hate speech, you know, a bunch of anti-Black, just anti-cultural anything. And he was supposed to come speak at our school, and along with Lara Trump, which is Donald Trump's daughter-in-law.
Wow. And
word was getting around. They were hosting an event called Culture Wars. So that alone, I'm like, what y'all mean Culture Wars? Yeah. Right. So that was strange. But I was seeing flyers up on campus, and I was like, who are these people? So, you know, I didn't want to just take their word for it. I'm like, okay, they protest. Let me see who we talking about. And I was reading receipts. Like, I even looked them up on Twitter to see what people were saying on Twitter. I was like, oh wow, like, these are some pretty messed up people. Okay, I'm here for it. Like, they're not about to endorse this stuff at this school that we pay so much money to go to. Like, I live here. Like, these people can come here, talk, and leave. They're not responsible for the aftermath from all these crazy kids that we have to deal with, you know, as students who are paying tuition. So that, I was like, wow, like, I felt disrespected. Like, it wasn't personal, but it was personal to me. Right. I'm like, wow, y'all really gonna let this happen? Like, granted, the black population in that state was very small, but that don't matter. Like, we don't like this. Yeah. Here, so, all my some of my classmates, my friends, we made our little signs and we went out there to protest. And that, like, I've never felt that angry before. Like, I was very angry, and I feel like that anger was more than just my anger. Like, that was like, I felt like I was carrying, the community on my back. Like, right. Granted, these people might not be able to hear me specifically, but all of us down here together, like, y'all gonna hear us. And just seeing, we were chanting, oh my God, I'll never forget that. We were chanting Black Lives Matter, and all the Trump supporters, they were shouting back USA. I was like, that's a message, like, right there. Like, that is a message. We're telling you Black Lives Matter, and you're waving the flag in our face. Like, that's very, very telling. And I saw, like, some of my own classmates, like, I saw Black kids in the line, for the culture wars with the Trump supporters. And I was like, yo, like, this is real life. Like, there's actually Black people up there. And I just felt so disgusted with them. Like, that was a very emotional day. I was that was ridiculous. And after reflecting, I was like, I can't be at a school like this. These people are endorsing Donald Trump another term, and I have to go to school with these people. I have to sit in class with these people. Like, I'm walking down the street and I see people with Confederate flag bumper stickers, but they playing rap music. I'm like, no, this is not something that I want to be around. This is just, it don't feel right with me. And, like, I'm big on energy. Like, just the whole energy of that school after that, it just wasn't it for me. I didn't like it. And so I'm like, okay, I got to get out of here. I didn't really want to go to state in the first place, but, that's just how things ended up playing out. But my initial plan was, I'm going to go to NC State for 2 years, and then I'm going to leave. And I had forgot about that plan until that day. I was like, oh, yeah, it's time to get back on the plan. And granted, I would say I miss certain things about NC State, like the resources, because, I mean, it's $1 billion school. Like, they have a bunch of free stuff that I might not be able to find anywhere else. But my opportunity cost, after evaluating those, I was like, nah, I gotta get out of here. So I applied to A&T. And I applied to A&T because, well, first, it was a school I was kind of familiar with. Right. And I would just see so many great things. Like, I remember I saw one of my friends, she went to some conference or some speaker had came, and the speaker was Malcolm X's daughter. I was like, we get Lara Trump and they get Malcolm X's daughter? I was like, get me out of here. Right. And so all that stuff, it made me, I was like, I gotta leave. And I transferred in the middle of COVID, which was crazy. Like, we had got kicked out of, well, not kicked out, but they made everybody leave campus at NC State. Right. So I was out of there early, thankfully, but I transferred over the summer. I came here. Right. And granted, I haven't been able to be on campus, like in in-person classes, right. But the whole vibe is different. And I feel like because I'm in such a different space now, my creativity has been going so crazy because at state, I'm having to think about all this crazy stuff going on. Yeah. So I mean, I was creating a lot and I was creating good stuff, but it's like now it just hits different. Like, I'm in a different space. I have different inspiration. You know what I'm saying? I like painting Black people. Now I got Black people around me, all day, every day, everywhere. As right. opposed to NC State, I see the same 5 Black people on campus, you know what I'm saying, every once in a week. So right. This shift has definitely caused me to, go harder on my creativity and just made me feel more expressive. And now I have a lot more that I can express, right. Since I've experienced what I experienced at NC State, and now I'm in a better place. I feel like now I'm able to, tell the story and create some artwork off of it.
That's dope, yo. So let's jump into the line, yo. You got a shirt on now that you made?
Yes, I have. It says "Protect the culture, respect the culture," and this was a piece that I had made actually at NC State, wow. And it was after the protest. Actually, I was like, that stuff like that really inspires me. So, there wasn't really too many people I could talk to about it. So I'm like, okay, let me just put it into the medium that I know best. Right. So, I decided to turn my brand identity into a brand that is catered to, uplifting Black people. And I want to reach people that believe in the Black community, that are proud of who they are. They care about the future of Black, they care about, where we go. And I try and, come up with a message that's easy to wear. You know, I can't write a whole poem or a whole speech and put that on a shirt, but something like this, something protect the culture, respect the culture, quick to the point, and you get the message and you can wear it. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So that's what's most important to me, like making the message convenient for people. And that's kind of the thought process I go through for all my pieces. Like I make a lot of text-based clothing, but all those things, like I'm not just Googling that stuff. Like it's coming from my mind. I'm thinking protect the culture, respect the culture is, I was at a protest at NC State and I felt disrespected, and now, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all they see, but there's so much more behind it. And I kind of want to make people think a little bit too, you know, like what does she mean? What culture? What, you know? So more than just, oh, it's a cool t-shirt, I'm gonna throw on, like, oh, this t-shirt represents something, this t-shirt is saying something. You know, I want people to actually be able to understand and appreciate this, and also, you know, feel uplifted. Like, this is a brand that cares about you. This is a brand that's not pandering. I'm not, you know, putting out no racist stuff just so I can get some more customers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did some research a while ago for a school project, and I learned that in the ad industry, Black people only make up 5%, you know, of I guess the models that are in the advertising industry, like as a whole. I'm like, that's ridiculous, because we're one of the top consumer groups and we're not represented anywhere. Nope. So I'm like, yeah, let me do what I can with my little platform, you know, and make a difference in my circle, at least. You know what I'm saying? Like, it might not be reflected globally right now, but it's reaching somebody. It's reaching the people that purchased it. You know what I'm saying? At the very least. So I feel like that's just me, you know, doing my work, doing, you know, the spirit's work in my own way.
That's dope. And you started the company in 2016, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So you've been doing it for 5 years. So tell me what it's been like, that 5-year journey from where you started, what it was like in the beginning to where you are now, and some of the adversities and things that you had to overcome, and some of the high moments that you have been through.
Okay. Well, for starters, my brand looks totally different than it did when I was 16. Because I started this brand when I was in high school. And, you know, back then I was just trying, I mean, that was a necessary period. You know, I was figuring out what I wanted to do, figuring out how I wanted to go about it. I used to hand paint all my designs on my t-shirts. Wow. And yeah, that was crazy though. Like, I really did that. And it wasn't too many orders, but after a while I was like, okay, I can't paint this. I don't want to paint this anymore. Like, that's when I knew I had to change. I was like, I don't feel like doing this no more. And I don't ever want, you know, my passion to feel like a chore. So, okay, I gotta change something. And then I actually met my boyfriend, and he was into graphics and stuff like that. And he knew people that printed t-shirts and stuff. And he was putting me on. I was like, oh, okay, like I might be able to use this. So I started experimenting with drop shipping, with screen printing and stuff like that, even to the point where I taught myself how to screen print. Like, I watched some videos on YouTube. I read some instructions. I read some blog articles about, okay, boom, I'm gonna try this out. And actually last spring, I printed a whole collection by myself, and that was the hardest thing I ever done. I probably won't do it again, but like, I know how to do it. And I look at that as, you know, I had to learn how to do that, because one day when I got people printing 500 shirts for me, I want them to know I know what I'm doing, and you're not about to mess up my work. You know, I want it like this and this and this. So it's like, even though I didn't enjoy doing that, it taught me a skill, and that's a skill. Like, I know how to do it now, and if worse comes to worse, I could do it again. But I started doing that, and I feel like that also led me to get a bit more creative, and I was able to start putting more text-based stuff. I was able to start really pushing my message, because now I can get it printed. It's more efficient. I don't have to paint every word. Right. You know, stuff started picking up for me, and I started to get more orders. And then I would honestly say my brand didn't really start to pick up speed until about 2019. Like really getting customers, getting momentum, 2019. And so fast forward, the screen printing, I came up with the Black is Beautiful collection, and I don't even remember how I got inspiration for that. But I was like, okay, I got to put this on something. So I put it on everything. I had t-shirts, water bottles, mugs, stickers, like everything. I was like, I'm going to find, you know, if something works. And that was my best-selling collection. In like a weekend, I had almost sold out. I was like, yo, like that's crazy. Yeah. And for a while, I found myself trying to duplicate it. I'm like, okay, this collection has to be like the Black is Beautiful collection, has to do better than the Black is Beautiful collection. And I wasn't meeting that expectation. So I started to get down on myself a little bit. I'm like, dang, like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? And because I was being so closed-minded, you know, stuff just, it wasn't hitting. But, you know, the fact that I wasn't able to surpass that goal, I started to try different stuff. So I started designing, you know, way more stuff. I started, you know, testing out new colors, and that right there really started to create my path. I'm like, okay, now I know how to get it made. Now I know where to get it from. Now I know what people like. And I started to learn more about my customers. Like, I started getting orders from people I didn't know, orders from people out of the country, orders from, you know, states I've never been in. Like, right. I don't know nobody in California, but I shipped, like, my first time I shipped the order to Cali, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm lit. Like, the brand is going crazy. Right. But stuff like that, you know, and all of it was from trial and error. Like, I didn't have anybody saying, you're not supposed to do this way, or, you know, this is the best way. Nobody around, like, I had people that were creatives around me, but nobody, and not even to big myself up, but nobody was on my level. You know, nobody was taking it serious like me. I knew a lot of people that have clothing brands, but nobody was marketing. Nobody wanted to make a website. And I was like, I'm just going to do everything that they're not doing. I'm going to watch all these videos and just do whatever. And, you know, from everything that I learned, piece it together, I was able to create something cohesive. And because I didn't have any resources, I just started doing everything myself, printing by myself, shooting by myself, just everything, ordering special packaging. Like, I was trying everything. And I feel like that's made me, I still have a long way to go, but I feel like I've built up a lot of tenacity and just a lot of knowledge about the business, period. And then in school, I'm actually majoring in business management. So I was teaching myself all the art, and I'm coming to school to learn all the business. So yeah, just putting all that together, I started, you know, stuff just started working, and I'm still educating myself. You know, I try to always remain a student, still educating myself, still looking for resources, still using YouTube, Google, you know, whatever I can get my hands on to figure out how to make what I want reality.
That's dope right there. I seen a video on your TikTok where you were kind of like showing what it takes, the process of, you know, you designing it. Yo, that's dope. So the fact that you're doing it all on your own, self-taught, pretty sure, you know, family and close friends, your boyfriend, they help out.
Right.
But your mind, the idea, I like literally saying how you start the process to actually shipping it out. How does that feel? So you know what they call that? They call that self-made.
Yeah.
Self-made, self-paid. 21 years old, business owner. How does that feel?
Well, it depends on the day, because sometimes like, because I follow a lot of people. I try, like, on social media, I try and follow people that are doing better, visibly doing better than me. You know what I'm saying? People that are where I want to be. But sometimes I find myself comparing myself to them too much, and I'll see people that are my age and they're millionaires or something like that. So sometimes I'll be like, dang, like, what am I not doing right? But then, you know, I had to check myself. And I'm like, okay, I don't know their story. I don't know why they're millionaires at 21. You know what I'm saying? They need this right now. I don't need this right now, clearly, because it's not here right now. But I'm confident, you know, that I will be where I want to be at. But some days that comparison could really be a killer. But other days when I'm really, like, in reality, it's a huge blessing. Like, no lie, I'll be out in public and people be, are you Jewel the artist? I'm like, you know me? Like, I was at a restaurant one day, and this girl, I was wearing my Black is Beautiful shirts. She was like, did you get that shirt off Twitter? I was like, I made this shirt. She's like, oh my God, you're Jewel the artist? I was like, dang, like, you know me? Like, that's crazy. Never seen people in my life. So stuff like that. It's like, okay, like, I am doing good. And people that I have no idea that existed are finding out about my brand, and they like it enough to where they want to buy it, to where they're leaving reviews on my site, to where they're telling me, I love your brand, I love what you do. Like, they're not, it's not I love your clothes, I love your brand. Like, that means so much to me, because there's so many janky business owners out here, you know what I'm saying? People that just don't know what they're doing. And I do know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, humbly speaking, like, I know what I'm doing, and I'm doing it right. And people like that. Like, I'm getting good reception. So that, honestly, it feels very good, and it's reassuring, because I hold myself to a very high standard. So when I'm able to actually step outside of myself and look at what I'm doing, I'm like, okay, I'm doing really good for my age. Or, you know, when I'm hearing people saying this, like, I'm doing good, just, and sometimes not even for my age, just period, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people that would never even think to follow the course that I've chosen to follow, and it's so normal to me. So it can be daunting, but it can also be very uplifting and very, very exciting, because just the fact that I don't know when it's going to be that day that it really pops off, you know, that makes me want to go hard every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know when the right person is going to see it. So it's motivating, like, just to look in the mirror, like, yeah, I did that, or to put on something that I made. Like, it's just like, I did that kind of feeling.
That's dope, yo. And to be your age, and like I said, to have a brand that's growing and to stand for what it stands for, that's a big shout out. You know what I'm saying? So
Thank you.
tell me, besides, like, you know, what you already said, what are some of the things you had to overcome? And on them low days, what keeps you going?
Like, in life in general.
Both.
Well, I would say recently the biggest thing is probably my father passing, and that was that wasn't expected. But after, I guess, the initial shock, I was like, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? What does this mean for me? And try and put a positive spin on it. I'm like, okay, that just means, you know, I know my dad always wanted me to do this and this. Now I have to really uphold those expectations. If I was never going to, now is the time. So it's become very inspirational for me. You know, it's not that I mean, of course, I already had a reason for what I'm doing, but now I have another one. You know what I'm saying? Now I have something else. When I'm thinking, oh, I'm just gonna quit. No, you have this reason to do that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that for sure. And the big move from NC State to A&T, like, it just showed me, you know, how quick things can change. So, right. And the benefits, you know, you got to be willing to take that risk. That's another thing I've been learning. Gotta be more open to taking risks. Can't be so conservative with things, because you never know what could happen. I think you might have went out.